What's up, YouTube? This is Tien bringing you an update on our Kinetic Blast Deadeye. I have some clips of me running a low tier map in the background, and I'll just kind of talk over some of the changes that we've made in 3.3. I am running in a very low tier map currently, and so because of that, I talk about this all throughout the guide, is kind of changing up your needs. You can see kind of what gear I'm using here, but I'll get into the game after and kind of explain my link setup. But, I'm taking off more power, putting on a little bit more quant. I talk about it on stream all the time, but it's kind of balancing this concept between quant, move speed, and damage. Kind of balancing those things and making sure that you're farming efficiently. Using a pretty strict loot filter in order to make myself move fast and get those Esches mirror stacks going. What's very cool is for the next 2 weeks, you guys can kind of check my VODs on Twitch, and you can kind of see what I was using, how I progressed my gear. I get this question a lot on the threads, which is, how do you do your gear progression? What items are the most important? Which ones should I go for first or second? Help me fix my character. It's weak in this area, that area. And it's very individual for everyone. So if you need more life, drop some quantity or maybe drop some move speed to get more life. If you need more damage, the biggest things that are going to help you are more links. Think about different flasks for movement as well. Maybe a Stibnite will be better than a Jade Flask, things like that. So yeah, that's kind of the big differences, I guess, when it comes to what's happened here in 3.3. Is that I'm farming a low tier map. I used to farm higher tier maps, so like T14s and 15s. This character may reach that point yet, but right now I'm kind of just sitting in a tier 3 map, which means I can kind of sacrifice some of those, some of those things that like toughness, like damage, what have you. I also made a change on my tree to use the Inspired Learning Jewel, which is like a mini headhunter effect. And when I get into my gear, I'll show you a couple other changes I made as well. I'm actually using, instead of a decoy totem, you can see barrage on my bar, but this isn't the barrage that you're used to. It's a little piece of technology that we're using for this map. You guys may have experienced this when playing the build previously, but if you use decoy totem on ranged bosses, for example, they won't get drawn to the wall. They'll just use their ranged attacks on your decoy totem from distance, and then you can't get those juicy kinetic blast bounces off the wall. So what I've done instead is, you can see me struggling with Vegan here, is that I put in a barrage knockback support totem, and that basically shoots while I'm shooting my kinetic blasts and will knock the boss up against the wall. So hopefully here when we get to the boss fight, you guys can see how that happens. Another reason I'm running these low tier maps, I really like incursions with this build. You can kind of see some of the gameplay in action here. We fly through these incursions pretty quickly, and it reaches around corners with the explosions. I'm using a different gem in my setup. Instead of increased crit strikes, I'm using increased area of effect to get more AoE on my kinetic blast. And yeah, these are just adjustments that I've made. The guide is a guideline. If you're doing certain levels of content and you need more power, maybe consider doing a 6-linked barrage or something like that for a really high single target. Like if you want to kill the final incursion boss, I believe his name is the Omnitect or something like that. But here we go. We should be heading into the temple here to kill Elira. But yeah, the gear is mostly the same. I'm still in the early part of the league. At the time of me filming this, I believe I'm 1 week into Incursion, so don't have my headhunter yet, don't have a lot of gear. So here you can see we're going after the Burial Chambers boss. I'm killing those mobs before aggroing her as to not get her Soul Eater going. And you can see there the knockback totem was knocking her back. And so let's look in game at what I'm using currently. Piscators, no corruption here. We're actually saving this to double corrupt it. Light Poacher with the additional explosion enchant. I was actually using this helm for a while, which has the kinetic blast area of effect. Still Bisco's Venters, Eshe's Mirror, Queen of the Forest. That hasn't changed. Here you can see I am using that increased area of effect. The Barrage with greater multiple projectiles, knockback, and ranged attack totem support. Again, I like this because you put down the totem and it's attacking while you're attacking, instead of having to do a manually casted barrage and then cast your kinetic blasts. Bisco's Leash and Goldworms, those are the same, and you can see here no Dying Sun, pretty budget flasks altogether. I was running on a 5-link for a very long time. I was running on this helm instead of the Light Poacher for a pretty long time. I would say most of the things are pretty inexpensive. Maybe a 5-link Queen is something like 30 Chaos at the time of me posting this, and then an Eshe's Mirror was maybe around 1 Exalt. Anyways, this video is really long, but feel free to check out the link to the build in the description, where I will be answering any questions basically in the comments of that thread. And yeah, good luck in Incursion, and best of luck wanding out there in 3.